Hey everybody, this is Rick and Melissa Wood with Married Life University, and today we're bringing to you our weekly Married Life U chat, which is on the subject of giving each other the benefit of the doubt.
You're right.
Look at my fall. This actually could be Christmas,
It is.
really.
You got a reindeer.
But if any of you are my Facebook friends or have known me for any period of time, I start to celebrate Christmas in the fall.
I get counseling to deal with it. So
He does, yeah. Anyway, so
are we talking
why don't
about?
you start us off, giving each other the
What'd
benefit
you
of the
say?
doubt?
Oh, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. So this is probably one of the hardest ones. The closer you get to somebody, the more you tend to doubt their motives or their motivations. I think sometimes.
I just think it's easier to judge them.
You asked me to start.
Okay, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt there.
Thank you. Yes, it is easier to judge them. You're right.
Yeah.
I think it's easier to have a sloppy view of that person because familiarity sometimes does breed contempt, unfortunately.
Yeah,
And so you have to stop. You got to counter that familiarity, if you will. A lot of times we think the worst about our spouse, or they think that they're thinking the worst, and I think that's just part of not communicating. That's part of living together. That's part of doing life and being stressed. And a lot of times we just honestly, when we're stressed and we're tired or we're fatigued or stuff's going on in our own personal lives, we're always looking for somebody to blame.
For sure.
And a lot of times it's easier to blame the person that's closest to you. So if you catch yourself getting frustrated or feeling like your wife's nagging you, or why did she say that, or why did he say that?
Yeah.
Just take a step back.
Stop.
And give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
And if it is an issue, you have a time, your weekly check-in time, where you can bring it up. There's no reason to snap and get frustrated and right that moment. Just say, you know what, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. If it continues happening, make note of it and talk about it during your check-in time.
Another phrase that I like to use for giving someone the benefit of the doubt is extending them grace.
Yeah.
Just really learning to have grace for one another, which I think does become more difficult to do the more you get to know someone, because you feel like you know me, then you should always respond correctly to me. You should always behave correctly to me. You should never irritate me. And so it gets more difficult sometimes to extend grace to one another. But the reason it's so important, there's a few reasons, but one, you know what happens when you assume, right? You make an ass out of you and me. You don't ever want to make assumptions about anyone. I mean, about anyone's motives, about not just in your marriage, but your kids, your parents, your friends. Like, making assumptions about people is always going to lead you into a big downward spiral of frustration and anger and bitterness. Extend each other grace first and foremost. Have a healthy conversation. Figure out what the truth is, because a lot of times we believe things about other people from a place of wounding or past crap that we've been through or whatever. And just figure out what's really going on before you make a judgment call on someone.
Well, here's the worst thing that could happen. You give them the benefit of the doubt, you extend them grace, and you find out they are just being a jerk, or they are just being controlling.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? You're allowing yourself to get in the most healthy place you can be.
Right.
So that you're not being triggered or pushed by them, and you can actually respond. I mean, come on, listen. This is what makes life so enjoyable, is getting to know somebody on the deepest, most intimate levels. It's an opportunity that you rarely have in this life, and God has given one another to you for that purpose. And so, I mean, it's not about work. It's not about toil. It's like, man, we get to know each other better than anybody. We get to practice communicating. We get to learn how to live life together more than anybody else, more than any other relationship. We get this opportunity to do that. And then that's why you see those, people have been married 50, 60 years, and they look like they've done the hard work.
Well, some of them.
Some of them. But, but I'm saying, you see those couples, you go, I want to be like them when I grow up, if
absolutely.
you will. So, that's what it's about. It's not about hard work. It's about being committed to one another and enjoying it, and just saying, you know what? I'm going to extend them some grace here. Even if they are being a jerk, I'm still going to extend them grace, and I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. They married me for a reason. We've been through a lot together. We'll figure this out. Even if they're having a difficult time, we'll figure it out. They don't have to be perfect.
Yes, and I think that this is a really important tool if you struggle with fear, and if you struggle with reacting from a place of fear, which is something that I've worked through a lot of my life. Wrote a book, Eliminating Fear. If you haven't read it, go get it. And just reminding yourself that this person loves me. He's not perfect.
I am.
Well, I mean, Jesus in you is perfect, but you don't always act perfectly, but that doesn't mean that you don't love me because of a behavior or because of a way you reacted to something. And that's part of extending grace, is sometimes just stopping and reminding yourself that this relationship was born out of love. And that's the first and foremost thing I have to remind myself before I jump to a place of fear.
And when we do that, we give the other person, we extend grace, or we give them the benefit of the doubt. We give them the space to come and keep that connection with us. We give them the grace to enable them to be themselves and yet come forward and pursue us, or vice versa, or be pursued by us. And we just give them the benefit of the doubt, helps them grow as well.
And it does go both ways. If I don't extend Rick the benefit of the doubt, sometimes I will come across as the accuser, and he has to instead extend me the benefit of the doubt and go, you know what, I think she's reacting from a place of fear.
Yeah.
So sometimes it definitely works both ways. But if you have any more questions about this subject or anything else regarding marriage, we're here for you, and you can find us on our website, marriedlifeu.com.